So, Dr. Onani, thank you so much for joining me in your garden.
My pleasure.
So, I'd met Dr. Onani a few times casually, and then one day I found myself sitting next to her in a park. She said, "Do you have a piece of paper? I want to draw something for you." I was like, "Sure, of course." And for the next hour and a half or 2 hours, you sort of blew my mind, um, drawing out what I'm hoping that we can talk about a little bit more in depth today about the different energies, the masculine energy, the feminine energy, and femme energy. And I still have this piece of paper that we sketched out in the park 2 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was. But it was a pivotal conversation for me, and it's led to a shift in me that's led to all of the work that I do now. And I in my work share what I'm learning from you, what I've learned from you with lots of other people. But I would love for this conversation to be a tool to reach many more people and to hear it
Yeah.
from the source. Um, and so that's one of the reasons we had decided to talk about the awakening of femme energy. Um, but I want to make sure that we take a moment and talk a little bit about energies in general so that people understand what we're even talking about before we get
Okay.
into the femme.
Right, right.
So I just wanted to start there.
Okay. That's a great place to start. We always have the feminine and the masculine, right? They always go together and they balance each other in some way or another. So as mammals, we are born into survival consciousness. So we look outside ourselves to be provided, protected, and nurtured. And if we don't get it outside ourselves, we die. Okay? So it's live or die. It's either or. And you go along with the program. And so as soon as a mammal is born, but humans in particular, as soon as a human baby is born, he or she starts to learn the cues immediately of how to be provided, protected, and nurtured. In survival consciousness, both that masculine and feminine energy is external. We get nurturing outside ourselves, and that provider, protector, authority energy. It's all outside ourselves. And it's beautiful in whatever form it takes. It provides stability, safety, comfort, predictability, familiarity. Everybody in the system has their roles. And as long as everybody doesn't change and keeps their roles, it all keeps moving smoothly, right? And that's the survival of the tribe. And it's an extremely efficient system. It's allowed humans to become the most prolific mammal on the planet.
Yeah.
And so the awakening of the femme is shifting the power dynamic from predator prey to a more cooperative power dynamic. Yeah. And so in survival consciousness, the masculine holds a greater hierarchy over the feminine
And you mean the masculine energy?
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Because that the providing, the protecting, the physical, that's the physical. But the nature of the human spirit is to grow, right? The nature of the spirit is just to expand. So, just like the chickie and the egg or the butterfly in the cocoon, what was once a comfortable paradigm, what was once nurturing, even if it was like abusive, there's still comfort and safety in it, right? And that's why people will go back to old patterns.
Yeah.
It's because of that comfort and familiarity. And so we're in this comfortable place, but we our nature is to outgrow it. We're meant to outgrow it. So it's painful to stay where we are, but it's really scary to move to something else. It's really scary to move into the unknown. And that's that moving into mystery, moving into creativity. And so we go back and forth. We stay in the pain, but it's too painful. And we move into the fear, and we go back to the pain, and we go back and forth until we're going crazy. Yeah. So I always tell my clients, you're on the road to joy when you're going crazy. But it's this crazy period that people will go and try to find help. Yeah. So when clients come to see me, when they come to see you, it's often in that crazy period. It's too painful, but too fearful, too painful, but too fearful. Now, a lot of practitioners will inadvertently teach their clients to continue to adapt. They will encourage them to deny themselves and adapt to the old environment. But what we're being called to do is to encourage people to go into the fear, to go inside, and you can feel the next step. You can feel where you're being guided. You can feel where that yearning, that calling, that sense of purpose is. But it takes an inner connection, and that needs to be developed. Number one, just become aware of it, and then it needs to be developed. And it's meant to be developed, right? We're not born with it. We're born looking out, and spiritual process is developing that connection within. And that is the Feme, because Feme energy is love. So it's not a man or a woman. Everybody has this capacity to connect to that inner love. And that's why it's called the Feme, is because it's feminine energy, and it's that inner love. So that's recognizing me. That's recognizing my gifts, my talents, my dreams, my desires, my sensuality, my sexuality. So when I was waking up, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know my favorite color. I don't know my favorite food. I knew everybody in the family's favorite food. I knew all of their favorite movies. But I didn't recognize mine. And so that was quite a journey, and I had to go through all that layer of judgments, right? Like, why was I taught? My mother was a nun before she was married, and so I had that influence of not recognizing, of that selfless service. And so I had to go through all those judgments and fear of knowing me and honoring me and expressing me, which then means people are going to see me, which was scary for me.
Oh, it can be really scary.
Yeah. Does that make sense for the awakening of the Feme?
I think it's a good start. I think I've shared my story with a number of women's groups that I've worked with, because I call it dreaming or envisioning.
Yes.
When I'm trying to encourage individuals to connect with the Feme.
Yes.
Explain, as I remember it, when you and I were talking, you said, what are you dreaming about? What are you dreaming for? What are you yearning for? And I don't think I've had a bigger blank in my whole life. You said, like, what are your dreams for your life? I think I literally said, I don't understand the question. Like I what do you mean that means for me?